One day he said, right, come and do this for me. I'll give you some money for it. It's a crazy lifestyle. Someone might come through that door to get what you have. The police might be coming through the door because of what you have. It just all went left. The count of murder, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty? And my heart just stopped beating.
Welcome listeners to the Creating Effective Change podcast, where we give a voice to the younger generation, explore real stories of youth in our society and discuss important issues affecting young people today. My name is Charlie Aston, and for this episode we are joined by a young man with an incredible story of criminal exploitation. Do you want to start by telling us about your experience?
I'll say it probably began when I was around 13, 14.
Were you seeing it before you got involved in it then?
Yeah, you'd always see it. Just people that I knew from the area, you see that's what you were doing. They got a bit of money and they got nice clothes, and it's appetizing to a kid, isn't it? It's appetizing. But then when it gets you yourself, it's a whole different thing now when you're involved.
Was it a known criminal gang that was in your area?
At this point, it probably weren't even county lines, and it was just more people from that area selling different types of drugs. County lines is more like when they're getting the kids and then they're sending them on a train or in a car and they're sending them away. I never really seen that until I got a bit older and I started exploring other places. That's when I started seeing like the gang culture.
Did you have someone approach you?
I didn't actually get approached. It was kind of the other way around. You know who's doing what, and then you're like, I want a piece of that pie too. At the time, it's just, yeah, look, I'll do that and just get a bit of money for it, and then I'll do that. And then you start benefiting more from it and you start getting more involved, and then obviously life comes with it. It was mainly like party drugs, and then obviously then came on the harder drugs like the crack and the heroin and stuff like that.
Yeah. Was it mostly the clothes and the lifestyle that drew you towards it, or was there something else?
When you come from a lifestyle where you got everything that you need, don't get me wrong, I had everything that I needed. I had a good family unit, but when you want to get your hair cut, when you want to get that pair of shoes that you've just seen, and it was a mixture of the people, and then it was an attractive lifestyle to a kid, just being able just to go and do what you want when you want to do it. I used to run away a lot.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I would go and I would just be gone for not even for no particular reason. Like I won't be doing anything crazy. I'll just go and stay at a friend's house for 2-3 days.
I suppose that seems to me like you wanting a bit of independence.
Yeah.
But then that's something that as a young kid, you don't have the full picture of it, of how dangerous that could be. If you're getting involved with people that are selling drugs, then that can be a building thing. But
yeah, it did escalate quite quickly. I got in contact with the guy and I just said, like, look, what can I do? I want to make some money. And it's crazy because the guy, he kind of knew me growing up. And he'd always say to me, like, no, you're different. You've got a good head on your shoulders. Stay away from this stuff. Don't let me hear you ask anyone else either. So that went on for a couple of months. And then one day I messaged him and I said, look, I don't go to school. I had no hobbies. I weren't really doing nothing with my life. He said, right, come and do this for me. I'll give you some money for it. Just go and meet this person and take this. And I was excited. I was like, yeah, right, finally, I'm going to make some money today. And I went and done it. And I was like, oh, that was easy. What else can I do? I don't actually know what kind of me attracted to that lifestyle. But then when I think about it, I think it's mainly like when you're listening to certain types of music, and it's a very big influence when you see these music videos. I'm trapping this and I'm trapping that, and I've got this watch and I've got this car and I've got this chain, and you're like, yeah, I want that as well. Like, it's easy, it's light work, and then it just escalates quick. It just escalates quick.
It's funny because 13, 14 to me it sounds like such a young age, but I remember when I was younger just being desperate to be an older person. And I wonder if that's the part when you're listening to a music video or you're seeing older people, you look up to that, you're kind of wishing your childhood away because you want to be independent.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the wrong way. When I look back, it's the complete wrong way.
Everyone hears the typical story of county lines, a kid's being approached and someone's buying them new shoes and they get lured into it. That definitely does happen, but a lot of the time it's more sophisticated in the way that the kid's groomed because it's this deception of what that life is.
Yeah, I'll say there's always two sides to every story. You do have a lot of kids, and I know of people that have genuinely been groomed and they have no idea. And then you have some kids who are just in a position in life and they're just so desperate for anything. They know exactly what they're going into because I wasn't a stupid 14-year-old. I knew what I was getting myself into. I just thought to myself, well, all these other people do it, I might as well.
Yeah.
But you do have like some kids who are so vulnerable and in such bad positions in life and have no one around them, and they just think, well, they're not thinking because they're being told what to think, what they can think, and they're being sent away for probably like months at a time. They'll give them stuff and then get someone to rob them and then say they owe you and you're not getting paid. It does happen quite a bit. Me personally, I never experienced that, luckily.
It's really interesting that guy had a filler picture and he didn't want you to get involved in it. He hoped for something different for you.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when I go back home, I see the guy around and he always goes like, oh, I'm proud of you now. He went, I always thought you'd be different. Never end up like me. He went, I've got everything I want in life, but I don't have peace.
It's a quick way to make money, but it's also such an unpeaceful life, such a stressful life, which might be part of the appeal at the start because there's all this danger.
Yeah, it's 24/7. When I first ever sold the harder drugs, I sat and thought to myself, like, this is crazy. When you're seeing what people will do for that little rock, you think to yourself, how do you even end up like that? Like, what has happened to you in life to do what you're doing, to be homeless, going in shops, stealing clothes, going and selling them? I reckon if a lot of people had the work ethic of crackheads, the world would be a different place. The drive and ambition they have to make money so they can get high is off the chain. You can have someone come to you at 8 a.m, they'll get some bits off you and then they'll be like, right, I'm going out, I'll be back here at this time. And they will be there at that time and they'll have exactly what they said they're going to have. And then they're getting more and more, and it's just a never ending, just every day. It's a crazy lifestyle. You're not really sleeping. Even when it's time to sleep, you're so on alert because someone might come through that door to get what you have. The police might be coming through the door because of what you have. So it's a lifestyle that takes up 24 hours of your day.
So how big was the group that you were working with? What were the different roles?
The first ever one, there was less than a handful. I came in to take the most risk, actually meeting the addicts and stuff.
And were they older than you?
A bit older, like not too much older.
Was there a person who was the leader or the person in the top of the supplier?
You don't see that far. It's like in business. Selling drugs is genuinely like a business. If you take a loan from the bank's going to want its money back. If you get a consignment of drugs, that person's going to want his money back. But then that person's obviously getting their drugs from somebody else who's either producing it then or they're getting it from somebody else. Somebody's always above somebody until you get to the top.
Did you ever have any competition in the area from other drug dealers?
At this particular time, no. Like the area that I'm from is quite small. So everybody knows everyone. And everybody knows who they can and can't maneuver around.
You were saying about venturing out, and did you get into a bigger gang?
So I got arrested. I knew I was going to get arrested as well. I'd been out in the morning and I walked into a shop. And when I walked out the shop, I seen someone that I'd already seen twice that day. And I said to myself, it's that time. I had a really expensive jacket on as well. I'm walking back and I'm like, right, what do I do here? There was no getting out of it, but there was probably ways of making it not worse as it would have been. So I've gone back into the house, done whatever, and then I've walked out the house and I seen the same guy stood at the corner on the phone. So I said, right, I'm going to walk this way. They're going to get me, so I'm just going to wait for them to come and get me. So I'm just walking. And then I see a man and a woman, and I was like, all right. I said, they're coming. And I'm just telling myself, they're coming. And I seen 2 other men jogging in front of me. I went to myself, that's them. And then they turned around. One of them ran at me. I was eating a packet of crisp. He come and kicked the crisp out my hand. They give me your hands. At this point, they thought I was older. I didn't look like a 13, 14-year-old. I looked much older. Like I had full facial hair, I had long hair. I had no previous with the police at this point, only for like going missing and stuff. Right. They're like, what's your name? I give them my name. And he's like, what's your date of birth? And I give him my date of birth and he looked at me and went, what? Wait, say that again and say it slower. So I give him my date of birth again and he went, you're 14? I was like, yeah. He went, you're not 14. What's your real name? They searched the house. The van come and pick me up. Gone to the police station. Social services had to get involved because a young kid involved in drug dealing. It was just back to square one of just like, I'm sat in my room, like playing a bit of Xbox, listening to music.
Were you in school?
I was in school till about year 5.
Would you have been in school when you first got involved?
No, I weren't in school. I got excluded from school in year 5, and then my mum decided to take me out.
Yeah.
I went back to school for I believe it was a month in year 8, but that didn't work out.
Was there a reason why you weren't staying in school?
I just didn't work in school. Like I was really bad ADHD. Like I had like loads of energy. I was quite misunderstood. I was always a practical learner. Been good at doing things like sitting in front of a piece of paper for 5-6 hours a day. It wasn't good for me. I couldn't do it.
It's such a pity that, because I think a lot of people find that, and actually a lot of people involved in county lines and a lot of people who have been excluded from school, it's been for those reasons. And it's such a failure to a young person because it is that sitting around not having something constructive to do that leads you to looking for something else.
I went back to it. It was late at night. My mum had gone to bed. I packed a bag and off I was gone. I was gone for a while, but I was in a new city, not too far from mine. I had a better role. When you leave, like my mum reported me missing, I'd ride past a food shop or a hotel and I'd see a picture of me there.
Oh, really?
And I'd look at it like I thought it was funny because I'd got a haircut. I had a big afro when I left and I got my hair cut.
Oh, okay.
So I was quite unrecognisable. Become like a game because like I would walk past police officers and I'd just look at them like, only if you knew. And it's like my greediness then kind of got me caught because I started doing my own thing. I started selling some weed on top of the drugs line as well.
Right.
I used to just spend my nights literally bagging everything up, making sure the phone's always getting answered and making sure the money's all accounted for. I hadn't spoke to my mum for a while.
Were you close with your mum? Did she miss you?
I've always been very close with my mum.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I always wanted to be my own person.
Yeah.
I made a mistake as to what got me caught as well. I had a girl come meet me who knew my mum. She ended up telling my mum like where I was. A couple of days later, I ordered a pizza and I told the addict, I said, go get the pizza for me. Because I never liked answering the door. I didn't want my face to be seen because at this point it was getting quite serious. They were doing their pills on Facebook, Instagram, everything, because I'm not telling my mum I'm okay, just leave me alone.
Right.
He's like, no, I'm not going to get the pizza. I'm not going. So I went and got the pizza and the pizza guy looked at me and I went, I do not like how he's looking at me. And then I was just moving about a lot. And I ended up ringing my mum, I think the next day. I was like, why have you reported me missing? She was like, because you're gone. You're meant to be at home. You're not at home. Yeah. You're missing. I don't know where you are. I ended up just hanging the phone up and whatever. The next day, I went to go out. It was pitch black at night and I seen a van, squares on the van, and I paused. And I went, that's a meat wagon, which is obviously the big police vans. And I turned around and I just ran. And I was just jumping walls, jumping. Well, the addict ended up ringing me and going, there's police here looking for you. Showed me a picture of you with an afro. Said you're missing. And then for about 3 or 4 days was playing cat and mouse. And eventually I ended up getting caught. I got taken to the police station. Then I got put in a secure unit. They said, you're just a liability to yourself. You keep going missing. You keep getting involved in things. We didn't catch you, but we know. We have our suspicions. We're going to get a court order. We're going to put you in a secure unit. They first said, right, you're going to go there for 3 weeks. So I went there for 3 weeks, went back to family court, and they said, yeah, you're not leaving. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Think of a category C type prison. Every door has a fob. You have your staff in there. You get locked in your room, I think 9 or 10 o'clock. They limit who you talk to, limit who can visit you. But it was a good experience for me. I had a lot of time of reflection in there and it kind of chilled me out a bit because at that point, I was only getting worse.
Yeah.
And then I just started getting back into contact with everyone. And I was thinking to myself, the people that I was associating with, I was much smarter than them and I was much more determined. I got a train back down to the second place I was, and it just started from there. And I kind of took on the mentality of the older people I was around before. I became them in a younger version. I just started doing everything that I was shown and everything I was seeing. I just started doing it. It's like crazy to see from a 15-year-old, but nobody actually knew my age. It was just getting worse. And then I started getting into little problems with people. I couldn't settle for you having one up on me. I couldn't do it.
Right.
And then that's when I kind of got onto the thing. It weren't gang culture, but it was more we'd step to them and then we'll just see what they bring back. One night I was just out and we was in a car and it just all went left. So this is now 6 weeks after me getting out of the secure unit. I find myself back in the police station now for a stabbing.
Ooh.
And that's when my life really took a turn for the worst.
What had happened?
We're sat in a car and we're going to pick my friend's friend up. She's just acting weird. We're meant to be leaving, but she's left her bag inside. It's a car where once you get in it and close the doors, the car just locks itself. So you have to unlock it then to get out. So she's like, oh, can you unlock the car? I want to get out. And a couple of boys appeared. A big situation unfolded and a boy ended up dying. So now I'm under arrest for attempted murder. I'm in the police station and it's not quite hit me yet. Like I'm in the cell and I'm like, attempted murder? I'm like, really? Attempted murder? I went to sleep and they wake me up. We're rearresting you on suspicion of the murder. So now the boy's dead. I was meant to go to trial, I think 2 or 3 months after me being remanded. The day I was supposed to plead, COVID hit and all the prisons in the UK and the whole UK got locked down. I've woke up in the morning, I'm like, right, finally I can go and plead. My trial's going to start and everybody's going to see what really happened. And I'm like, when's the bus coming to get me? Oh, no, you ain't going to court today. Lockdown from today, COVID-19. I'm like, who's COVID-19? Like serial killer or something? Why are we scared? They're like, no. And I eventually speak to my solicitor and she's like, you ain't going to be going to trial for a long time. That's when it really hit me. I'm in prison. To the left of me's a murderer. To the right of me's somebody else. I'm only 15. You bang up, you come out, exercise, go education, come back, bang up, eat your dinner, bang up. There was a boy on there and I was on induction with him and he was just a loudmouth. I'm this, I'm that. Nobody can do this, nobody can do that. It was my first day on this wing. And one of the boys on the wing was one of the most respected people in the whole prison. He had quite a lot of influence in the prison. He was winding him up. I just said to him, he was like, oh, you don't know who you're talking to. I said, I know who I'm talking to. You need to be quiet. I'm not going to keep hearing what you're talking. And he walked up to me and I've always just thought to myself, you ain't going to step to me in here because if you do that to me in here now once, people are going to think that I'm soft. So I just didn't think twice. The prison guard saw it escalating and I just thought, nah, I just punched him straight in his mouth, crack, split his mouth wide open. So now I'm on basic, got no TV, no association. I'm not allowed to shower every day and I'm a very clean person. So for me, that was the worst part. And it sent me in a downward spiral. I'm in a small room and I'm just becoming angry with everyone and anything. And then a very lovely lady, a prison officer, come and spoke to me one day and she said, what happened to you? I was like, what do you mean? She said, when you was on induction wing, you was the loveliest person. I was doing the cleaning jobs. I was sweeping up the landing every day. She went, you've been on basic for 3 weeks and this is your own fault because you keep fighting. You're a good lad, really. I was like, no, I'm not. Look at me. Just because I'm on remand, it don't mean I'm a nice boy. I said to her, my life's over. It's done with. She went, nah, never count yourself out. Never tell yourself that your life's over. And that was in the back of my head for a while. Yeah. I'd managed to wrap a TV in my duvet so they didn't quite know I had it. And I accidentally broke the plug to it. So I'm now experiencing what it's like just to be on your own in a room.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck this. I just literally just smashed up the TV. He's like, what's going on in there? And they went, what, you got a TV? You're smashing it up. He was like, we're going to come get it out. I said, you ain't coming in here. I said, whatever one of you comes in here is getting it. And then when you say that to them, they kit up, and we call them the come get your squad, because when they're coming, they get you good. So I'm stood there, and I'm like, come in then. And he had this big shield, and he just ran at me, pressed me up against the wall. I smashed my head off the wall, and I said to him, you're going to regret that. I was on block for 2 days, and then I come back onto the wing, and it was exercise time. I saw the prison officer stood there, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to get you in a minute. I'm going to enjoy my fresh air, and I'm going to get you. I've seen him, and I've ran over to him, and I've just jumped through the air, and I've just clipped him nice in the mouth, and he dropped to the floor, and I was just on top of him, just going in. I then got restrained. We call it twist, like you get twisted up, because there was a guy in there. He was a steroid head. He would he'd be drinking protein shakes all day. And he come and he said, when we get you in that cell, you're getting it. And they put me in the cell, beat me up a bit. The prison officer ended up having to go to hospital.
So obviously a lot of anger there.
So much anger.
But the woman who was speaking to you, the prison officer, she's the third person who I've heard in your story who said to you, you're a good person, really. Yeah. You can get yourself out of this. So there's consistently someone who sees something in you.
Yeah, I just never saw it in myself. She come back to me and she said, like, why have you done all this? I was like to her, I'm angry. This is how I express me. You got the papers here saying I'm a murderer. You got all these prison officers thinking they can just do what they want with you. And she was like, we're going to give you a chance. We're going to get you back on induction wing. You're going to be our cleaner and you're going to do good. She said, I see hundreds of boys come in and out of here. But you're different. You're not like these boys. When I'd go out on association, I wouldn't even be associating with them. I might play table tennis with someone, but I'd be in the corner reading a book. Just chilling out, watching everybody else like clowns, because everybody's in there like, yeah, I'm from this gang, I do this, I do that, I've shot this person, I've stabbed this person. It was all exciting to them. When me, I just wanted to go home. I was on induction wing, a boy came in from Essex, and he turned out to be one of my good pals. He came in for murder also. He'd been like groomed into county lines, and something had happened with, I think, either a crackhead or something, and they set him up and killed him. I kind of took him under my wing because I see he was a good lad. He was the first person in prison. I went, I actually like you. I get along with you. And I ended up getting my enhanced. I got moved upstairs into the bigger cells and I was doing my cleaning job. I was getting to work on canteen and stuff, serving the food. I was like, right, I've got something to be good for. And I've always been into fitness, but I really then started taking my fitness seriously. I was working out every day, reading. I've never been one for TV. I got into like Hollyoaks. I started building up the relationship with my mum again. And then that same prison officer, the lady, she said, how would you like to go to a STC? You spend all day outside. It's like a unit more than a prison. 2 weeks later, they woke me up in the morning and said, the bus is here for you. You go into the secure training center. And it was weird. I didn't really want to go because I had like my first like, good friend.
Yeah.
He was like a really good friend. We spent so long speaking through the pipes. You're spending a lot of time bonding and building up that relationship. The secure training center was different. I didn't like it. Because I'd went from being in prison.
It sounded like you really benefited from the structure of the prison. You had purpose, you had reason to go.
I had such a good routine. In this STC, it was quite boring because I'm just sat around. But now I'm in there with kids my own age. I'm like, I don't like this. I was in there with a boy who was a year older than me. He was in there for murder as well. Him and his friend were out burgling. They stole a car. They ended up seeing somebody. They went and got a shotgun, come back and just shot him, blasted him on the main road.
What?
Yeah, it was
Did
quite...
he say that he had done that?
Yeah.
Was he remorseful about it?
No. I didn't really experience county lines and grooming and gang grooming until I went to prison, and I saw how detached from reality a lot of these were. They would sit there and they would say, like, one boy, he was in there for a double stabbing, And he was like, you should have seen the look on his face. He knew he was going to die. And I sat there and thought to myself, that is absolutely crazy. Like, you genuinely think you've done such a great thing. Whereas in the predicament I was in, when it got to that extreme, I was like, oh my God, what has happened because of me? My trial ended up coming up anyway after like a long time in there. And I didn't know what to expect.
Did you know exactly what had gone on?
I just said my side of the story, which was I acted in self-defense. That was my side of the story, the truth, nothing but the truth. And things started coming out during the trial that we didn't yet know.
Right.
So what started coming out was the boys were on loads of drugs, that they'd burgled a house that night, and just things like that started to come out. And as I started like telling my side of the story, I was thinking to myself, like, these people ain't gonna believe me. I'm looking down at this jury and it's full of white people. They look like middle-class white people who are just disgusted by what they're hearing and seeing. And I was completely honest with them. I told them, I said, look, this is the lifestyle I was living, selling drugs, and I was carrying knives and I was carrying weapons and I was arming myself, and a situation happened and it just went to an extreme that I just never thought it would really get to until it came. And this is the first time in the whole like 9 months where it really hit me. And I'm sat down there. I remember I was eating a peanut butter chicken ready meal. And I was just sat there, stress eating, just eating and eating. And you don't know when the jury are going to come back. It could be days. It took them, I think, just over an hour.
Oh, really?
We've gone upstairs. Now I'm in the dock. And the jury came in. And it was like the all rise. They said to the jury, on the count of murder, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty? And my heart just stopped beating. Genuinely, like, I skipped a couple heartbeats. I must have. I heard not guilty. I looked at the lady and I went, did I hear that right? She went, shush. So I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Then they said, on the count of manslaughter, you find the defendant guilty or not guilty. And I looked at the lady and she looked at me and she gave me the look of, you're going away. And I said, not guilty. And I went, oh, what does that mean? I was like, so what's happening now? She was like, you've been acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. I was starstruck. I genuinely believed I was going to get a manslaughter. The judge ended up giving me a 12-month restorative order. And they ended up putting me in an connectivity intervention place. So I woke up early. I was feeling like back to my old self a bit, like I was excited, I was happy. I put my tight t-shirt on, so I was thinking, right, I'm gonna look good, I'm gonna look like bulky when I get out, like a young man. So I spent 6 months in the activity camp, met so many people that I'm in contact with now.
Did you have a good experience?
I had such a good time. I kind of lived my childhood out there. I went back a few years. I was going out biking, rock climbing. They brought Danny in to work with me. He started coming to see me, I think, once a week. I relate to him so much. We found the lifestyle because we didn't have anything else and we wanted just to escape and be our own type of people.
Yeah.
The conversations I'd have with Danny, I couldn't have with anyone else. My life was just getting better and better. That's the person I want to be like now. I don't want to be like these other people. I remember 2 years ago, my sister passed away. And the first person I called was Danny. I was on the phone for him for ages. I had a competition literally a week on the day of my sister passing. And I was like, she wouldn't want me to not do it. And I'd done that competition and I smashed it. Probably one of my best ever performances to this day. One thing Danny taught me was when obstacles come in life, you never go around them. You smash through them however you can. Nothing will ever come to you. Life ain't easy. Selling drugs and being involved in county lines, it's easy money, yes, but look how many years of my life I lost because the mistakes I made. Now I'm proving myself in a different way and I'm setting an example. I had my daughter nearly a year ago. Would I want her to go down the path I went down in life? No. There are little things when people are disrespectful and I think, oh, I can get you, but then I think to myself, what's the point? look what I already lost for them 30 seconds. There was actually a boy I met in prison, and he said, I lost 25 years of my life for not even 25 seconds worth of actions. You could lose your whole life and ruin your whole future for one act of anger, or you believe that what you're doing is gonna get you further in life. But you can't cheat life. If you cheat life, life will get you back.
Yeah, it's true. No, it does. It comes to get you. And it's interesting about you saying having to smash through a problem instead of going around it. I think if you avoid an issue, it grows and it becomes something that's dark and big and hard to tackle.
Yeah. Danny always told me, whatever you put your mind to, you'll be very good at. When all you got to do is just give it 100%. It just takes time.
There's obviously a lot of drive, entrepreneurship, tactics, and working with people. All of those skills, they're all there. It's just the direction in which you place that energy.
Yeah, I was just putting all the right energy into the wrong places, where now I've just got that tunnel vision. I know what I want. I know what I'm doing. And I'm just striving for greatness. You've got to put yourself around the right people that want better for you, because people can drag you down. It's just so easy to slip back into. I've had my daughter, and it's kind of opened my eyes. Someone's depending on me now. I want her to just live the best life that she can. Kids are like a sponge. If my kids sat next to me and I'm being rude or disrespectful, they're going to copy you.
It's interesting that you bring up wanting to be a good example for her. A lot of the issue with gang culture is the influence. Look at drill music. It's very copycat of just wanting to be a part of something and wanting to replicate the culture. What would you say to a young person that is acting tough and carrying around weapons because of that influence?
I would say stop listening to drill music. You're subconsciously putting thoughts in your mind. Your brain is processing it, and now you're accepting it as to be normal because you're listening to it every day. When you listen to, let's say, like a love song, some people get emotional, right? Because they've either had their heart broken or they're in love, right? When you listen to, let's say, like soul music, it makes you happy. When you listen to drill music, how do you think that makes you feel? Someone talking about selling drugs, stabbing people, killing people, like, it's not going to make you feel good. It's basically glorifying everything. They're telling you it's okay, like this lifestyle is good, but it's not. Watch your crowd. If people around you are telling you what you're doing is not right, and there's people telling you that you can be something, just listen, just try. That's all I've done. You just gotta want it for yourself though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop being around these people. I'm gonna stop selling drugs, taking drugs, fighting. You're always independent in the way you behave and the way you act. Things can influence your thoughts and your actions, but if you've been taught right from wrong and you know right from wrong, it's now your choice what you do.